Good. Hi, everyone. So I'm excited tonight. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm a little bit buzzy because we were just, Trina and I, welcome Trina. We were just talking and she's sort of like a little bit like me in terms of like the whole holistic approach to health. And she just started to tell me some really juicy things. So Trina, I'm going to let you, and we'll come back to that. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and share your story, specifically that little bit as well. So I just find that like super cool.
So we were talking about how I look at reconnecting physicality with mindset and spirituality, and I was just mentioning to Nora how I also do Akashic record reading as well for health. So a lot of people talk about, say, money codes and things like that, but I mainly primarily do it for health and looking into people's health and how their whole book of records can give them the answers to their health and allow them to feel into their body and literally reconnect with themselves. And it's just really super cool to do.
So cool.
It's such a lovely process.
Okay.
And
the story before that,
yeah, well, the story before that, I tend not to tell my story quite often. There's a reason for that, because it kind of, for me, it kind of opens up a lot of things again that you've kind of moved on from.
That's a fair thing. That's different.
Yeah,
it's good. I like that.
So for me, in the long and short of it, I used to be a personal trainer. I then went into health coaching. I started to listen to my own body and literally changed my own health around by listening to my own body, tuning in, knowing what she's asking for, because she's always got dialect. And the dialect would be like, say, through sleep, through digestion, through movement, just through different niggles, aches, and all that kind of, all that kind of stuff. And she's just always communicating. So for me, going through my own health journey actually helped me to understand how I worked, but also equally teach that to other people. And just so I didn't just teach it to myself, I wanted to learn more about the human body. I'm fascinated how humans work. I'm fascinated by how we work. I'm just basically nosy, just to be fair. And I always say that. Sorry, I'm like, it's really hot tonight, so I haven't got a fan.
I have my fan on me and I'm like thinking, can you actually hear me? Because it's so loud, but like, yeah, I'm hanging tonight.
I'll be like that, going like this.
No, it's fan only. It's you.
But for me personally, I always think just human biology, the way we heal, how we heal, and looking into the root rather than the surface. So what we get a lot of the time, and you'll know this as well, Nora, that we get a lot of surface, answers to everything. And really, the answers, the true transformational answers, are right at the root. And you can literally like change your health around when we're at the root. Now, not everyone needs to look at the root. And the people that I work with are ready to open Pandora's box, so to speak. So
they're not ready, or they are ready?
No, they are ready.
They are ready.
They are ready. Yeah, the people who come and see me are completely ready. They've already been on a path of, awakening. They've been on a path of doing a lot of psychological work already. They've been on a path, through various health journeys and things. So they have a really great level of understanding of where, of who they are. And it is definitely a big move away from the clients I used to work with, because it's very difficult to take people down a road that they're not ready for yet.
100%, you can't.
And I have that's a decision. That's always a decision. But I do have some really great people who are psychotherapists that I know, psychotherapists, other therapists, other coaches who take people from the beginning.
Okay, so if we if we look at the average woman, so I'll break it down. Maybe this is going back to your PT days, because this is sort of what I think would be
Yeah.
to people who are listening. And I find it really cool that you've sort of transitioned from where I am now with holistic personal training to working more with the spiritual side. And again, it's all encompassing, right? And I think that all of it's really important. So I think it's great that you're doing that. And even better that you're on here tonight, so you can share some suggestions to people. But looking at the average woman who is, and what you said in the beginning, tuning into what she's asking for, as in your body. I thought that was really, and that served as a reminder to me, because sometimes we think, okay, well, we're teaching this stuff, and you've got to lead by example, but sometimes you're so tired and you forget how to listen to your own body, because you're you're so busy helping everybody else. And that was great for me, because as of late, I've been getting this sort of urge to just have raw fruits and vegetables. Just do that. And I can't. You find every excuse, but it's reassuring to hear somebody else saying, trust your own knowing, trust what your body is telling you. Like, you already have the answers there. So how do you work, or how do you teach women who have so much clutter going on inside, or they've lost that sense of connection with self, where they've lost that sense of trust with themselves, where they don't feel like they know what's best for themselves? How do you start them from the very beginning and saying, we all have that knowing, this is how you can unravel it, and this is how you get to know what's best for you, and what she's saying to you?
Yeah. Silence. Always have a really nice silent practice. Now, that's very difficult for a lot of people, especially if they're like me and your brain is like going, but what about this? And what about that? Sometimes that can be really difficult.
Yeah.
But it's amazing just to sit with your thoughts. Just to sit with your thoughts. I think it's Eckhart Tolle, isn't it? Tolle, who talks about sitting with your thoughts and recognizing, just being, observing of your thoughts. What are your thoughts saying? 9 times out of 10, we close our eyes and it's like, well, I need to do that today, and I've got to pick up the kids at this time, and I need to go and do all these things. But sometimes those thoughts only have a certain period of time that they want to actually chat for before they start to kind of wander off into something else, where you can imagine something. Even better, though, is to sit with yourself with your eyes closed and just focus on the area of feeling where you feel something the most going on within you. Maybe something's been going off in your life. Maybe you've been rushing around for everyone else. And I always say to everyone is just to feel where it is. Do like a body scan. It takes 2 seconds to do a body scan. Scan down the body and just feel where the most, maybe it's an ache. Maybe it's like a little bit of a pinging or something. Maybe it's just a little bit of a tingling or something like that, wherever it is, and just scan the body for it and then sit with it, focused on that area, and just see if it moves. Does it move anywhere? And a lot of time it will move. A lot of feelings within the body are mainly psychosomatic anyway. Some pains can be psychosomatic. So sometimes we might have a pain in one area, and as you know, it could be a referred pain from another area. Sometimes we can sit with, a pain in the body. It might just dissipate because you've just sat with it for a little while. Sometimes it will bring up a memory, but only something that the brain will allow you to see. It won't allow you to bring up anything that you're not ready to see.
So can I ask a question on that? So what's the connection with, because I've had a couple of talks with some women practitioners rather. What's the relationship between trauma and the woman's relationship to self and to, because obviously there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score, I don't know if you've read it, and it talks what these principles talk about the fact that unresolved trauma, unresolved difficult emotions, etc., manifest into different ailments in the body.
That's true.
And that sort of then tends to cloud out that voice, right? So silence, perfect. I know a lot of women probably listening to this now might be probably like, no, I can't do that. Like, you know, it's difficult. And I know some of them really struggle with that. But I mean, just starting with like a minute or so, it's still a good idea to, it's better than nothing, right? Because
absolutely. You do not need to sit, you know, for an hour with yourself or anything.
Oh, God, I couldn't
that
even
is,
do that.
you know, that, you know, not a lot of people have time. Not you have to like make time for those things. So not a lot of people have time for that. So even like just a minute, just sitting with yourself in silence is just a really, it's just a really neat practice to have. But personally, I would say 10 minutes. 10 minutes is more than 5. 5 doesn't seem like long enough. 10 minutes starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but not too uncomfortable that, you know, that it's 10 minutes starts to feel like 5 minutes just feels like it's over in a flash. 10 minutes though starts to kind of like just push a little bit of a boundary, just to sit with yourself for 10 minutes. And sometimes you want to open your eyes. I bet you've done that before. You kind of sat with yourself and you're kind of like going, when is this up? I know I got something to do.
I did it this afternoon on the couch. I was meditating. I couldn't do it.
And you just want to open your eyes. And I think the thing about meditating in silence is that we must stop thought. And that's not the case. For a lot of people, you have to allow the thought to go, you know, to do its thing. Because if we don't allow the thought to do its thing, you know, it gets suppressed. And you mentioned about trauma.
Yeah, that's a big one.
A lot of it is suppressed as well. Well, repressed emotion.
Okay, yeah. So what's your advice on looking at the holistic approach to health? I'm not sure if you come across clients similar to mine, both past and present, or just human beings in general. Like we all have stuff that we've been through. And the women that I want to specifically spend some time on now are those who have this desire, this calling for more, but they feel stuck. It's like the one diet works, but then it doesn't. This exercise works, then it doesn't. This lifestyle works, and it doesn't. And it's this sort of like fluctuation between everything. And it's like, you can sort of see this like little wispy cloud trying to pull them back to self, but they can't almost grasp onto that. I don't know how else to this, they can't grasp it. That's the woman that I want to focus on. That's who I want you to pay attention to tonight. How do you help somebody like that holistically become the best version of themselves, get rid of the trauma, process that, tune into self, know this is who I am, what I'm here for, this is how I can get what I want the very best I can out of this life?
The first thing that I would say is, I mentioned about looking at the surface and then looking at the root. Okay. This is a really great surface level type exercise. And this is just doing what you love. Doing what you love.
But how do you know?
Like a kid.
How do you know? Because I have women who say, well, actually, and I was kind of good. I said, okay, can you, because some of them, it's not always to say, go blast them with like, you know, boot camps or exercises. Sometimes it's just go do something fun, like go find yourself, go do something, just forget exercise and diet, and go have fun. And they're like, well, Nora, I actually don't know what to do. Where do you start with somebody like that? What would you suggest?
A lot of the time I'll get them to visualize it and see what it is and go back to childhood and see the most prominent time in, you know, the happiest time. That's where I would take them back to. So I would take them back to the most happiest time in childhood with the exercise that they were doing at that time. Could be cycle riding, could be swimming, could be just going for a walk in the woodlands or something. Could be just helping out in the garden or something like that. Just something that is just something that you love. Because, you know, I mean, and I've said this to a lot of people, I could easily give people a diet plan program and go, here you go do that. And I'm sure you've probably gone through that thing, and and that's the thing, you know, and you give it, and a lot of people don't want to do it.
Doesn't work.
They don't want to do it, and you've just spent your time, you know, we've both been in this position before. You spent your time like writing this program
That's why I don't do it.
Yeah, it's like the best program in the world.
Yeah, they don't follow it.
And they don't want to follow it. And that's where I always kind of go back to getting someone to visualize it, because the brain will know, the brain will allow, because it's a nice happy memory, the brain will allow, them to see it. And then, get them to do something like that. And the reason why I say this is because what I have started to identify doing personal training, doing lots and lots of fitness classes and working with a lot of women, is that I started to identify is that when you are doing something that you love so much, there is not a lot that can get in the way of it. You become quite protective of it. If it's like, I've seen so many people start bike riding and then go, oh, you know what, I really fancy doing 10 miler for a charity, and now I'm doing 20 miler for a charity, or 50 miler. And if they drank on a night before the bike ride, they'll go, oh, and that's how they start to feel into themselves. Oh, that made me feel a bit awful, and now I'm not able to do my bike ride as much as what I could do at that time. And at that point, you can see that people then go, oh, okay, I'm not going to drink the night before. So they'll drink on a different night. But you start to see that the level of, of the things that hold them back start to dissipate. And that's just a really great surface level way of looking at stuff to begin with. And I always say this, if people want to go to the roots and they will know, then you can then look at the root. And again, I would use a visualization technique for that, or I might use Akashic records for that.
When you say the root, as in the root cause, or the
root cause,
the root cause of why they're in that predicament.
Yeah,
don't you?
Yeah, because a lot of people come to me because they have had something happen in their life that stops them from doing that level, looking after their health. So it might be, and this is just a really simple one, it might be that they were stood in the rain with their father at one point, and their father said something and it freaked them out because it was in the dark.
It could be anything, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't want to go outside or go running or anything like that. And it's just moments like that can like literally change someone's perspective on, on going out. Or even, if you've been in a family and they have, asked you, you must be healthy and you must do this and you've got to do that and da-da-da-da-da and da-da-da-da-da. And it's all well-meaning, but a lot of people then can go into the area of, I don't want to do that because someone said that to me and they, wanted to make me do that, but I didn't want to do that. So it's not out of enjoyment of doing something.
Do you not think it's better? And so you this is your area of work. I don't touch like the spiritual side like that. Do you not think it's better to get to the root cause? Because it's sort of like in my head, I'm thinking, you don't get to the root cause. It's sort of putting the plaster on top of the wound. Yeah. No, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. It depends on, as I said, it just depends on whether the person is ready to go ready to go to there. Because some of the women that I work with are ready to go to there. And as a coach, you have to have their best interest at heart. So if they're not ready, I have to recognize that they're not ready, and I purposely won't ask or even push at taking them to that point. But the ones that I have worked with who are ready and who do feel it, so they might have like maybe a hip misalignment or something like that, and they've been through some serious, family trauma.
I like that. Can we dig into that as well? Because a lot of people have had, because I've been getting a lot of niggles in my group, and I'm like, and coincidentally, there's a lot of emotional unrest. It's not without the other. It's not just like, okay, we're slamming the exercise and that's everybody's happy. It's a lot. And can you talk? I know we're kind of like doing little jumps in everywhere, but can you talk on how people, if you can start to look at, this is what my body is saying, this is what it's trying to tell me with aches and pains. That's a big one, right? Because you could look at where the body's holding pain and like you can look at what it's trying to say. How do you teach that?
So firstly, you can either do it intuitively with someone, you know, for them to intuitively feel into themselves. And I'll ask a set of questions, you know, it might be just going back into what's gone on in their life. And I'll say, you know, where do you feel that? Because the brain will go, well, it's here, or it'll be in this injury. And a lot of, say, power that's been taken away from us will actually appear within the Achilles heel. So think about it. The Achilles heel is our longest, but it's strong. And, you know, and usually if any kind of power gets taken away in that area, in our lives, then, sorry, you can
I can hear Sandra the kid.
yeah, no, my husband's going, don't go upstairs. If anything's happened where there's been like a level of power that's been taken away, a lot of the time, a lot of clients will present with like an Achilles heel, like an inflammation in the Achilles heel. And that usually goes with, like, say, the ones that I've identified and I've recognized, usually gaslighting and those type of things. So those type of traumas. When, say, someone wants to move forward in life, however, that usually appears in the ankle. So, you know, your feet for moving forward. And a lot of the time, if you're moving forward too fast, a lot of the time it's an indicator that you're not very present with where you are. And you need to just take it back a little bit and just start being present again. And I've had a lot of conversations with physios about this as well, in terms of when we hurt an ankle, you know, we're walking off a curb or something, we're not even paying attention as we're walking off the curb. We're actually just thinking of something else. So a lot of the time when people just step off the curb, no one's ever thinking about their foot. Because if we were thinking about our foot, it would land in the right place. So we're not even present. So it's almost like an indicator just to step back a little bit. And there's just all sorts of other things that go on. Stability is all about the hips. You know, your emotional stability in particular. You've got the psoas muscle, which you'll know about. A lot of people may not know about who are listening to this, but the psoas muscle connects to the bottom of the spine, up into the tops of the femur, so the tops of the leg bones. And that can get really tight, but it holds a lot of emotional pressure, emotional memories in particular. And there's some really great, you know, if you look into Chinese methodology, you know, your chakras and your meridians. If you read the book, there's an amazing book called Metaphysical Anatomy by Yvette Rose. And that's absolutely fantastic as well. But it's looking into more or less the emotions about, you know, around our body and what it's saying to us. And even if we have that dialect, you can see when you're having that dialect where someone can feel it. So it might be that we're having a conversation about something, I'll go, you know, this conversation that we're having right now, where do you feel it in your body? You know, or if we're having a conversation about someone speaking, you know, not speaking up, but they might be having a few issues with going live online or something like that. And I'll go, where do you feel that in your body? And a lot of the time people go, you know, I really feel it in my throat. And they can feel a lump in their throat. And I will purposely get them to talk it out as well. So I do a lot of talking therapy as well. And I get people to talk it out. And you can see like the shift, you know, and they can feel it. And they're going, I'm going, where is it now? And they're going, oh, it's moved up a bit. Oh, it's moved to the back of my throat. And then it might come out as a yawn, may come out as tears. A lot of my clients say, oh, I have to bring tissues to the sessions that we have together because, like, I don't expect that I'm going to cry, but I do have a little bit of a cry, but they feel 10 times better afterwards. So I don't mean to do that to people, right? But it's just, you know, it's just held emotion. That's what it is. The brain has this beautiful connection with our hormonal system. It's got a beautiful connection with our muscles, you know, the brain is making the muscles move. So it's got a beautiful connection. And if we, and you'll have heard of this in fitness, mind and muscle connection, you know, where you start to lose feeling between, you know, in your muscles. And then you work on getting back the connection between the brain. And even, you know, mind and mind and muscle connection, you know, you can have a look at that, and you can even take that deeper and have people visualize in those areas as well. Because, you know, a lot of trauma happens in childbirth. You know, a lot of trauma happens, you know, if someone has an accident, a car accident or something. A lot of trauma can be all sorts of things. It's not, you know, it's not just sexual or anything like that. It can, you know, it can just be your mum leaving you at nursery one day, you know, walking off and going, see you, and you're like going, looking as she's walking past the window, and that's trauma.
We did a lot. I hope you guys are taking notes. So I asked about how you take this woman through that journey to find herself, and we started with the visualization exercise, and then we just went around the world. And I'm looking at the time, and
yeah, no, I do.
So it's okay. No, you are amazing. So how would you bring that woman from the visualization exercise? I'm gonna add in, because I think it's fantastic, listening to the body and understanding where things are coming up and how you're feeling in certain areas, and trying to figure out, obviously that won't be your step, I don't know if it's your step. I think that's a really important one that I would recommend everybody to do, that because it just makes sense. How would you then carry her on from the visualization exercise, trying to figure out how to tune into herself, understand what's best for her to live that life that she's called to live, on purpose, etc., on fire? What's the next step?
I would make sure that someone becomes aware. The more times you do those kind of practices, the more that you start to become aware. Because awareness is a massive key and a massive step to moving forward. The more times you start to recognize it, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, okay, I feel that thing again. And you start to recognize it, and then you might even, because we tend to start looking at, you know, what, you know, the narratives behind a lot of things as well. You know, what is actually holding you back, you know, because a lot of people may say, well, that time when someone said that to me, but that's a script that's playing out inside of someone. So awareness, and then awareness to look at your script. What are you telling yourself?
I love that.
Yeah. And then, you know, then looking at, you know, ourselves, facing ourselves. So a lot of people don't. No one wants to face. I don't want to face myself, but you know what? We have to, you know. And I make a joke out of it when I face myself. I'm like, oh, there you are. No, and I like to break down barriers in terms of having conversations about, you know, feeling jealous and, you know, and feeling judgmental and all those kind of things. Because people, I've had a client say to me before, oh, you know, I felt jealous and stuff like that, and I can't feel that way. I went, you know what? I says the worst thing is not allowing yourself to feel that way, not allowing it, because you know it doesn't make you an awful person. And I think that's the, you know, the thing that we always think. We think that we're going to be like this, we're this horrible and awful person when we face ourselves, and that's just not true. Actually, we just find out that we're human, and like everyone else, we're all human, and we all have thoughts and feelings that aren't, you know, is what people would say, as society would say, so to speak, that are okay. So we, you know, so it's always like we have to hide them away, you know, rather than say, you know what, I feel really angry. You know what, I feel this way. You know what, and you know, it's like, God, you know what, I feel a little bit nervous. Maybe my inner child's just, you know, acting up a little bit. And then you can obviously go into inner child work after that, and look at how your inner child's feeling.
So after the awareness and the inner child work, and they've processed the emotions and they're comfortable with being okay with sometimes being uncomfortable. Like in my family, it's a running joke, I'm the jealous one. I'm okay with that. Like they're like, oh, Nora's gonna be jealous again. I'm okay with that. Yeah, because like I'm open with my feelings. Like, and I think that's, I don't know, out of everything that you said, I think that's the key thing for me. Because I think once you're allowed to freely express how you feel, there's no caveat to anything. This is how I am. There's no judging. There is no explanation. No 2 or 4. No reason. Just how I feel. you're so free. There's no need to build up anything around you to create anything else. So I think, and that's what I think a lot of people I have now, which is why I think this is a great interview. A lot of the women I have are, they struggle to express
Yeah.
themselves. And obviously, you know, when you come to PT, it's a physical release, but it's not just physical. It's also quite emotional, as right. Yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing.
you get stuff out. Okay, so let me not take any more of your time. So after, is there
No, no,
like,
no. I love this. I love
I know,
chatting
but
to you, so
I
this is
know we're
good.
gonna we could talk for hours. You just I just find it fascinating that you are. I've not met another PT who's so, and I genuinely mean this, so enlightened. Like you're just a full. I mean, the word holistic, 100%. It's you. It's amazing. But what's your is there like another step to this woman? You know, visualizing what she wants to do, understanding how she's feeling, being mindful and aware. Is there like a last step to round the process out, or?
Um, I kind of feel just to make sure that she just documents it, because a lot of my work is bespoke, so it depends on what the client actually needs when they come to me, and it depends on where they are. So I would always say, just journal everything, journal after that, and just make sure you have a document. Because the thing is, when I do the work with these amazing women, I make notes, or like what you were saying, you have to make notes. Sometimes you want to know what questions you want to ask and things, and I make these notes, and then I send these notes off to them, and I highlight the different bits of questioning that needs to continue, because sometimes, just sometimes, these things come back again when you're doing another up level.
Yeah.
You're going up to another a height in your world, in your business, in your life, and and sometimes this little thing comes back and goes, well, what about this? And it's really nice to have your notes and have a really good journal, because if you can literally pick a page and you'll go, oh my gosh, yes, that, because it's all your words. It's no one else's words. It's not my words. It's all your words in there for you to heal yourself.
I like that word heal.
It's a
I have
beautiful.
another question. So let's say this woman has started her journey to healing, because I think healing is a, I don't know, I feel like I think we're continuously healing different layers of ourselves. Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I said a journal is really good, because
Mm,
the thing is, sometimes the thing pops up again in
yeah.
another place, in another time,
And you
but
say,
maybe not as bad as the first time.
yeah.
It's just like a little incy bit. And sometimes
Mm.
we still get that feeling, depending on what time of the month it is. Sometimes
Mhm.
we still get that kind of, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I don't know what and you kind of like sat there and you're like literally, and you're not stuck, right? A lot of people go, you're really stuck. You're not stuck. You're always moving, right? Everything
Mhm.
is always continually moving, because that's what energy does. It's continually moving. So, so
Mm.
we sit there and we go, oh my God. Oh, oh. And it's a really great time at that point just to kind of like just sit and maybe go back in your journal, pick that page and read it and go, yes, because your journal is so spot on.
Mm.
So spot on.
I feel
You're
that.
looking for it. Yeah,
I need to do that journaling again.
you're looking for the answer, and the answer is always within you. And this is
But
what
how? Let me dig deep in that. I'm going to challenge you because I know you said all of this already. Be
yeah.
quiet, visualize, get still.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is always within. And today I had so much peace because I have a very full on life. And sometimes it could be like really over, and I share that with my clients. I don't want to ever like be a hero. And I'm like, listen, like there are days when I'm like my ass is being like massively kicked. And I share that because you've got to be real and authentic.
Yes.
If you're just being seen to be like a god, and they don't see how you navigate through life storms and how you meant to be any sort of an example or inspiration.
Absolutely.
And today, and that's why, at first I used to be like very private, and now I'm like, you know what, like I'm human as well. Like this is, and today I just had this deep sense of peace that, even though you don't always know where you're going to, nobody knows where they're going to end up in this life. You can plan, but you don't know. And I just had this deep sense of peace that everything was going to be okay. And I kept coming back to, a few things that I want to do. And deep inside, you know the answer, but like I'm sitting there. This is why I couldn't meditate today. And it's, it's like, okay, I know the answer. It's inside of me. Find it. Find
Just tell it.
it.
Show me now. Show me.
Couldn't
Show
find
me
it.
now.
So, what's your tip for that? Because I couldn't do it. I could not.
Surrender. Surrender. Just go about your day as normal. Go about your day
You
as
make
normal.
that sound so easy
That's
though.
the question. I know it sounds easy.
Make
Honestly,
it sound
like,
really easy. Because I just end up
honestly,
shopping.
I have sat in the car before going, I surrender to whatever it is. And then like just went blubbing. Oh my God.
Okay, you did surrender. Okay, I don't surrender like that.
So surrender sounds super, super easy to everyone. And I always used to think, what is this letting go? How do they let go? I can't let go of anything. And you can feel a build up, but it's almost like, I think I've gotten to the point now where I kind of like just get on with my day. And if I can't think of anything, I'll kind of like just stop and go, okay, well, I'm not going to try and do 10,000 things because that aren't going to work. I'm going to just go about my day. Maybe I'm going to lay in the sun for a little while. Sometimes I go to David Lloyd and just go sit in the spa for a little while or something. Nice. And it's always, I tell you what it is, sometimes having a conversation with someone else, just an off the cuff conversation with someone else, helps you see the answer that's right in front of you. So sometimes, I had a beautiful conversation with a guy, and I was just going through a little bit of something, and like we had this lovely conversation in this jacuzzi, and after that conversation I realized, I went, that was my answer. That was my answer. So I just went about my normal day-to-day life and left it to the universe to provide the answer. And someone said this really great question to me. Can you assist me with this today? And then just leave it. Which is, I know it's really hard.
Okay, that's good. That just gave me chills. Okay.
But can you assist me with this today? And then just leave it. Go about your normal day. Try and I don't know. I love that. Switch off. I always talk about switching off the internet in a positive sense, because the internet is amazing for us, and it's just such a, it's amazing for us. Yeah. It's a lot. But it can be a lot for us as well. So I always say switch off the internet, because those 60,000 thoughts that we take in every single day are being filled with other people's stuff. So when you switch off the internet and you go about for a walk in the fields or something, and maybe you just go like this you've got some people booked in your diary, but for the rest of the time, you're like literally offline. Because
I think you're incredible. I love you. I love the tips. It's so good. Seriously, it's really good.
It's because, for a lot of my clients, spirit is trying to reconnect with them. So I do a lot of spirit reading, and spirit is trying to reconnect with these amazing women. They're already spiritually connected, and spirit is desperately trying to reconnect with these amazing women. So it's almost like my job is to like say, right, okay, go on here, switch off here, go reconnect. Because you're going to reconnect with yourself, you're going to reconnect with spirit, you're going to reconnect with everything that you ever wanted. And sometimes those things that you want are just purpose, isn't it? Happiness, really.
One last question. So for the one, I keep seeing this particular person.
Yeah.
This person who everything you're saying is great, and they're like, yeah, but Trina, I still can't.
Okay.
They know they need to, but like it's like, yeah, I want all of that. Is it that they're not ready, or they just is all of this really encompassing on you've got to be ready, or you just take the jump?
Well, I think it depends on the person, to be honest. It really does depend on the person, whether they're ready to jump or whether they're not. And you can't I was going to say you can't push a person, but then but you can trigger a person into jumping. You can be very direct and say, look, if you don't do this, then this is where you're going to be. And I just want the best for you. I know you can do better than where you are right now. And sometimes, and it's not being direct in a horrible way.
No.
It's just like almost like a pep talk. I love doing pep talks, by the way, as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing too much of a pep talk because
I
it's
know.
definitely close to my bedtime, right? But I love doing pep talks because that's something that and you would have done this as well in your classes, you know, geeing people up. Come on, you can do this. You've got one more in you, right? You know exactly what I mean. And you can do it without shouting at people, right? You can do it without shouting at people. And you go, yeah, come on, you can do this. I definitely do one more. Now it's 5 because you've done that one. I know you've got 5 more in you, right? But it's just that kind of thing. Just really geeing people up and just saying, look, I know you are better than what you think you are. And I know that if you just do the one thing that your body is asking to honor it, because we're talking about honoring the body now. If you do that one thing, because it's about compound, you know, the compound effect, so small changes make big, massive, long-lasting results. If you do that one thing for you right now, you're just going to literally change your world.
We're going to end on that because I know your time.
And your person is still asking, but what if, Trina?
Yeah, then they're just not ready. If they're still asking what if, then at that point, then
they're not ready. And that's okay, right? And that's okay. You know, you have to accept sometimes when you're not ready. And there'll be a time, you know, it took me 3 goes to read the book Letting Go, Pathway to Surrender by Dr. David R. Hawkins.
I know that one.
It's an amazing book. It's an amazing book. And it took me 3 times to listen to that book before I even got it. I was listening. Yeah, 3 times. On the 3rd time, I was like, oh my God, yeah, I get it now. I get it. But at first, I just did not get it. And sometimes we don't get it because we're not ready just yet. And that's okay. That's okay. Always accept where you are, and that's okay.
Yeah, because everything happens in divine timing as well.
Yes.
Right? That's true.
Absolutely.
Right. This was good. This was one of the quickest interviews I've ever done in terms of it's not bad, actually really good because I feel like I could keep going, but
no.
bedtime.
Still keep talking.
Where can people connect with you? Like social media, programs, emails, websites, like where's your stuff?
Okay, you can connect with me via my website, which is www.trinakavanagh.com. You can connect with me on Facebook as well, actually, which I don't think I gave it to you, but I will give it to you, and then it'll be on here magically. Which is Facebook. It's Trina.Kavanagh-Thomas, and straight away, as soon as you put in my name, I like literally crop up.
Else. Are you running any programs, or are you doing any special readings or anything like that? Like, what's your main body of work that you're focusing on now that you want to share?
So at this moment, I'm doing Akashic record reading. So I do a thing called the Body for Business. And it is like literally, you know, an amazing Akashic record reading, looking into your book of life to help bring you that, even though sometimes we've got a bit of time freedom, sometimes we are doing, is it quality time freedom? That's what I want to say. Is it quality time freedom? And we look into how the health plays into that, just so we can free up the body and just go along our amazing journey.
That's amazing. You're different. You're really
thank you.
Yeah, that's a good
being different.
No, that's good, because like I can't pinpoint anyone to be kind of even close to anything that you're doing. I just think it's you are like in a own little place of your own. Like it's amazing.
In my own little world.
Yeah, no, but I just think
in a good way, in
a massively good way, because you can sort of, I think you're a step ahead of where us regular PTs are in terms of.
I wouldn't say you're a regular PT though.
I wouldn't say I'm a regular PT.
No.
So thank you for correcting me. Thank you so much. But you know, like you're looking at, you take it to that next level, you know, where people, and I think this is what PT is going to be realizing pretty soon, that, you know, it's not just the exercise and the nutrition and, you know, and the mindset. It's all of that plus the spirituality in order to help the whole person. And then this is how we make the lifestyle change. And all of these interventions that we're seeing, we're not going to have to be spending all these millions and millions, because we are our own teachers, our own healers. It's like you said, it's all there within us, and it's just coming back to self. And what you've inspired me to do today is, because I have a little thing with TikTok, which I need to stop. I need to kind of like I'm gonna try. Yeah, I don't ever have like social media fast ever, but I just feel like from today I'm gonna give that a try and just have, because those 60,000 thoughts and other people's own stuff, like that in itself is powerful. Like I don't think people listen to that and they get that. That's deep. That's really deep. So I'm going to give myself a little social media fast, and I think that those are fantastic movements to start. Like you could reclaim your power then, because then you can get into the silence, and then you could tune in, and you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's crucial, because you are freeing up those thoughts, and what essentially will happen is that then you can listen and tune into the thoughts that really do matter, the ones that really do matter.
Oh, it's been a pleasure interviewing. I'm gonna have to get you on again soon. This was brilliant. So
I
went by so fast. So I'm gonna stop talking, because if I keep talking,
we're still chatting tonight.
Deadline, and I'm over it, and I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, oh my god. So I'm not gonna even ask you one more question, but guys, please reach out and like check her stuff out, because I've not interviewed anybody like her. Like, and we've touched surface level, but not even surface level. If you go back and listen to what she said, like so many gemstones. And I know a lot of people listening on my group, like the meditation and the journaling things are things that they tend to struggle with. And I'm going to encourage you to just give it a go, just a couple of minutes, and just see the magic. Because all of the things that people come to us for sometimes, like we're asking them questions that they know the answers to sometimes, some of it, not all, right? So
absolutely. And as I said before, sometimes it's the conversations with other people that give you the, like the insight into, oh, that's the answer.
So on that note, people, it's been like an absolute, I genuinely mean this from my heart, an absolute pleasure. I wish we had more time, because I will talk your ears off. So I'm gonna again. Definitely need to pick your brain, and I'm gonna try like an Akashic records or reading or something like that, and feedback to you guys, because I love the energy stuff. So maybe there's a part 2, guys. Hopefully a part 2.
Just obviously reach out and stuff.
100%. I can't, like, you're a gem. Like, I can't let you go like that. So thank you so much, Trina. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Nora.
You're welcome.
You as well. It's been great. Thank you
so much. I'll talk with you soon.
Speak soon, lovely. Bye.
Bye.